A couple of months ago, I got an email from the president of ZMAN himself informing me of a patent infringement and a trademark infringement. Now, before you guys light me up in the comments and tell me all about the patent that they have regarding the blade to head connection, you can't have that direct connection. I know, which is why every time I make a bladed jig, I connect the head to the blade with a split ring. I'll tell you all about it as we go today, but for now, we've got 3 laminates to make today. So let's jump into our first color. First cup ready to go for our first laminate. We're using BaitPlastics 242, which is the norm around here. I'm gonna do the belly color on this first laminate, and I'm feeling monkey milk. If you're familiar with this from BaitPlastics, you know this likes to separate quite a bit, so it needs to be shaken up well. Quick tip for you, get yourself a little half-size paper towel and wrap that around there before you start shaking. Hold it on there nice and tight and then give it a shake. I can't tell you how many times I have not done this, gone to shake it, and that red cap has got a crack in it or something else, and stuff goes everywhere. We're gonna need some saturation on this first one because I know we're gonna have a saturated top, so I'm gonna go all the way to 20. We may even do 25. I think we're gonna need more. I can still see that stirrer going down in there. Let's do another 5 and I'll tell you a little bit more about my Z-Man issues. Yeah, that's looking better. So I used to make a bait called a micro chatter. It was a modified 1/8 ounce jig head. I modified this one to take a flat eye hook. I was using the coffin style shape blade on the front, really small because it's only 1/8, and then I would put the 3-inch Epic Crappie Slayer on the back, and it was dynamite. Well, lo and behold, Z-Man holds a patent not only on the direct connect from the blade to the head, but also on the shape of the blade. I did not know that. And that little blade that I was using, the only one I could find at the time that small, was the coffin-shaped blade that they use, and they said that's a no-no. Second cup is ready to rock and roll for the top, and I'm taking a cue from Michael over at Bait Chucking. He's got these hollow shifts that we've been playing with lately, and his last video showed a new way to use it. Basically, you take black, super saturate your cup, and then add your hollow shift to it. I think this tends to work best with these white versions. He's got multiple different versions, but these white ones tend to really work well, and it just comes alive. So Ghost Trout is the one that he used on the last video. I thought it looked fantastic, so let's go with 20 drops. There we go, nice and dark. So yeah, back to Z-Man. After some back and forth discussion with the president, I had to scrap. I had to throw away all of those blades. I used to get them from China. Had to throw them all away, and actually another size up that I also had to throw those away as well, and have been looking for a replacement ever since. Finally found one, which is why we're building what we're building today. All right, Ghost Trout. 1/4 teaspoon. This is even more than what Michael was using on his video. I think he was doing a full 1/8 and then added a little bit. I don't even care. We're going all the way, baby. 1/4 teaspoon. Let's see what happens. I hope I get the same results that he got because it was fantastic when he did it. Oh yeah, it's coming to life. Wow. All that pink and the green. You guys see more green on the screen. I can see a ton of pink. I don't know why that doesn't come through on my camera, but see this right down here, this little pink? I got that all throughout up here. Wow. That does look fantastic. I feel the need to add a little black. Flake. I like to do big and small. Not gonna do that this time. 1/8 of a teaspoon of medium instead. Maybe it'll get lost because it's a dark pigment already, or maybe it'll look awesome. 8-ounce dual injector by N2. The mold is labeled top and bottom, so I got my top on the left-hand side. Purge that. Nice, steady shot. So while that is cooling down, let me show you the lead mold that I'm talking about. It's this guy right here. It's the bat jig. So you can see it actually takes a wacky hook. It's got like a 30-degree by design, but I drilled out a little spot in the 1/8 just below as I was saying, just below the normal hook eye, just a little indent there to use this flat eye hook. This is a Mustad 32-900. It's the only flat eye hook this small that I could find, and unfortunately they don't make it anymore. So I don't know what I'm gonna do for future builds, but for right now I got a bunch of these and we're gonna continue to build these guys as long as I can. It sits right in there. Got the little wire keeper beside it and it pours up beautifully. Let's check these guys out. Oh yeah. Oh. All right, there's the green. You guys can see the green. And as I turn it, I can see the pink. Yeah, you guys can see the pink there. Let me zoom in. See how the pink is coming through more right there? In person, it's like, bam, looking really good. Wow. And this is only the top. There's a little sneaky peeky. All right, here we go. Gorgeous. Look at that beautiful bait. I love monkey milk and I love what it does to top color, and this top color does not disappoint. Shh. Dog biscuit. Alright, let me show you the jig head that this is going to go on. Right there is the new and improved, as you can see, not a coffin style blade, but equally small, modified bat jig 1/8 ounce. What am I calling it now? I'm calling it now the bladed flicker minnow. The trademark problem that Z-Man had with me is I was using the word chatter. So I used to call it a micro chatter. They didn't like that either. Any use of the word chatter, even if it's not chatter bait, they got on me about. So I no longer use the word chatter in anything, and this is now the bladed flicker minnow. Look at this tasty treat. Holy cow. Are you even kidding me? Oh my gracious. That is fantastic. Look at what the monkey milk does to the hollow shift. It looks like it's triple. It looks like it's triple laminated because of the mixture of the two. That pink really comes out in the middle, which is kind of exactly what you want in a trout type pattern. I'm just blown away. Green on top, pink in the middle, bluish white belly on the bottom. First cup of our second laminate ready to rock and roll. Before I jump into this one, let me get this one going. I find, at least for my microwave, 2 minutes and 20 seconds on a cup of this. BaitPlastics 242 gets me right at temp. It's pretty cool. So this one, we're actually going to do the top color first. I've got the Barlow's Tackle Gold Pearl Powder out. Got a 1/16 of a teaspoon for this cup. That is going to be our starting point base. Yeah, that looks pretty good. But you can see it's still pretty translucent as well, which is what I wanted, because we're going to add some hollow shift to it. This one is Solar Sugar. I thought it would be a nice complement to this gold base. Kick it up a notch, if you will. 1/16 of a teaspoon, bit of a heaping 1/16 there. We'll keep it out just in case we want to add more. Ooh, yeah. I see the iridescent pinks, see that? Coming through from the hollow shift, and it just ramped up that gold to the next level. Onto our belly color, now that we have kind of an idea of what the saturation should be. I've picked out a Lureworks pearl powder called Sparkle Pearl, and this one is pretty translucent on its own. So we've got a little bit of room to play with. I'm actually going to go to 1/8 of a teaspoon because I think we can afford it. Yep, see that? Very, very translucent. Let's actually, 1 second. Silk Pearl, also from Lureworks, but I don't want much because on the other end of the spectrum, this stuff is pretty well saturated. I'm gonna go with less than a 1/16. No, we're gonna need more. There we go. That ended up being a full 1/16 of the Silk Pearl, and as you saw, 1/8 of the Sparkle, and it's still kind of translucent, but I think it's gonna work. All right, plastic is right around 320. I always like that temperature for a nice clean laminate. Gives me my best odds anyway. Purge it. Same mold. Nice and steady. There we go. Did we get our saturation right? Always a little dangerous when you're dealing with translucent baits. Ooh, the top looks good. And I can see, looks like we have succeeded. Wow. Look at the sparkle factor. Look at that hollow shift and that Barlow's pearl powder working together to create something magical. Wow. That's awesome. Oh yeah, look at that laminate. Come on now. Lureworks doing its job on the bottom. Clear water presentation. Absolute killer. Oh, biscuit once again. Biscuits for everybody. I've never combined Sparkle Pearl and Silk Pearl from Lureworks. Today is a first. Hadn't planned on it, but I am digging it. And there it is paired up on the head that I poured with it. The head color the last time, I'm sure you saw, was Magic Crawl Blue. This is Barlow's Tackle Starburst in the Nova Stone line. It is one of my favorites, and it pairs up perfectly with this pattern. Check that out. Absolutely killer. Third color, ready to rock and roll. Let's do the belly first, and for this one, I'm actually going to dive into alpha pigments. It is called aluminized silver pearl. Another one of these that are going to be saturated. We're going to take another cue from Michael over at Bait Chuckin' and have a saturated top on this one. So, not going to be bashful. I'm going in with 1/8. I actually have a quarter here, so we're going to do half of that. Make sure that it is saturated well enough. Helps if I don't spray it out of the cup as I stir. Wow. That certainly lives up to its name. Looks like aluminum. Yeah. Aluminized silver pearl. Yeah, we don't have to go any further. 1/8 of a teaspoon was more than enough for that cup to give us the saturation we were after. Onto the top color, and as I mentioned, we are going back to one of Michael's patterns. Although, I'm going to put a twist on it. Instead of using black pigment, like liquid pigment, we're actually going to use Black Pearl by Lureworks. 1/8 of a teaspoon of this stuff should give us pretty darn good saturation and work as a nice base once we add our hollow shift. Yeah, there you go. Certainly saturated. A little bit more soft black, kind of that grayish black, charcoaly kind of black. So it'll be interesting to see how this works out. Let's add our hollow shift to it. This is Borealis. We've only used this one time on the channel. I added it to a clear coat for a micro crank. So I hear that adding it to black does magical things. And Michael's last video showed that, so hopefully we get a similar effect. Once again, I was not bashful, and I dropped in an entire 1/4 teaspoon. And I'm liking what it's doing. Oh yeah. Blues, greens, all kinds of beautiful things. Wow. I don't know that I want to change it. Nope. We're going with that. Final color. And in the cups, it looks like a dandy. Purge that out. Nice and smooth. Can we go 3 for 3? Let's find out. Oh man. Oh. All right, yeah, seeing Borealis. Oh, look at that blue. Sorry, got distracted mid-sentence. Seeing Borealis added to heavy black in person does not disappoint. Yeah. Man, that is nice. Let's see how it mixes with our belly color. Oh yeah. Oh heck yeah. Look at that laminate. Such a good mold. Absolute killer. Ooh. You turn it and all that blue comes through. I think you get purples as the two mix. And there it is on the head. Look at that spectacularity. Head color here is a double dazzle purple chartreuse. Look at that color shift. Oh my lands. That is killer. I'm so glad to be making these again. Keep Z-Man off my back with blades the right shape and a new name. Man, these are fish catchers and they are a ton of fun to make. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the journey today. I do appreciate you coming along with me. Got plenty to clean up around here, so until the next build, I'll see you guys in the shop.